My name is Tong, and what is in my heart is empathy. Is finding empathy for all of those that has been hurt, has been oppressed, has faced discrimination, and also finding empathy for those that has caused those damages, those that has victimized, and also finding empathy for those who are standing on the sideline, who are confused about what is going on, and um, has ambivalence. Thank you.
Great. Well, it is my pleasure to introduce our next performer, Tong. Trung is, to me, a young person with a very old soul. Trung's incredibly wise, super talented mover, actor, writer. Trung also works in the field of substance abuse treatment. And tonight, Trung is going to share with us an excerpt from a piece he's working on called Reveal.
So my name is Trung. I'm 24 years old, and it's been 3 months since I've paroled from San Quentin State Prison. This piece that I'm showcasing today, it's an excerpt from a performance that I was working on. Unfortunately, I was not able to finish it due to the fact that a few weeks ago, the transitional house that I'm currently staying at had an outbreak for COVID-19. I was also one of those who were infected. So therefore, they had to isolate us, and we all stayed at the quarantine hotels that are provided by the county. We've been released now since this past Monday, and I feel amazing. I feel mostly recovered, and I've tested twice now, negative. Back to my piece. It is about me and my identical twin brother. Originally, I used movements, dialogue, and narration to help paint the pains and struggles that happened in my life. It is a story about me putting on many different masks throughout the phases of my life to cope with the unmet needs, to cope with the difficulties. Early on in my life, I did not have my mother because she had made the sacrifice of coming to America alone in hopes of sponsoring our family. But then it was the beginning of the development of mask. Without my mother, I then was seeking love and affection from all the women that my dad dated. So I had to put on a certain mask. On the other hand, my twin brother also wore a mask, but one of the opposite. He was rebellious and aggressive with all of these women. Arriving in America, I was faced with another challenge, a cultural shock. I didn't know where I stood in this country. I didn't even know who I was. And then I faced bullying numerous of times, racism. And I tried everything I could to fit in, to try to not look like a foreigner. Moving towards the teenage years, that was a struggle between the two different masks that I wore. I was living a double life. On one hand, I was an Eagle Scout for the Boy Scouts of America. And on the other, at the same time, I was deeply involved in the criminal lifestyle, involving myself with an organized Vietnamese gang. All of this eventually led me to committing my life crime. My twin incarcerated 2 years for something that I did. A close friend of mine, who I call my brother, murdered in front of my very eyes. And then willing to be vulnerable, finally, and finding that courage to take off the mask, to reveal the truth, my whole heart, and then finally swapping with my brother, turning myself in, and my brother found freedom, and the stories that happened after that. So I'm truly grateful to be part of this, to be back in society, and to have my health back. I hope you all enjoy.
A mask, a cover or partial cover for the face, used as a disguise. A concealer, facade, defense, used to protect oneself from oneself. Thank you so much. And I want to just invite our audience to take a few breaths and just let yourself feel whatever is stirred up in watching Trung's piece. One of the big parts of our theater work is to expand our capacity to feel.